Project podcast. So today I want to share with you a few updates of things that we have going on and how you can be a part of helping us going forward. So as many of you know, my father, Dale Richardson, is a mechanical engineering technologist with a bachelor's degree in technology, and I worked for the provincial government back home in Saskatchewan, Canada, at a maximum security prison and hospital for the criminally and mentally insane. Now, as many of you know, we were exposing the improper contagion mitigation procedures for the COVID pandemic in early 2020, and likewise, how that relates to human trafficking, treason, and election interference in Canada and the United States. And this is precisely why the CARES Project has filed petitions for redress of grievance in the states of Texas, Colorado, and Michigan, as well as the province of Alberta in Canada. Now, it has recently come to the attention of the CARES Project that there was a mother in Colorado who was punished by the courts for trying to protect her children against a predator for being sexually abused and brutally attacked by the father. She's now going to jail and serving time for trying to protect her children against the evils and the corruption that we have all seen the last few years. Now, this is the same thing that we are seeing with Alberta's Minister of Health, Ariana Lagrange, who would not take the necessary actions to protect children from being sexually abused by convicted pedophiles and continuing to allow them to practice in the province of Alberta. And their licenses are currently being protected by the Alberta College of Physicians and Surgeons. Absolutely horrendous, if you ask me. The failure of our governments to bring these petitions to the floor have directly affected patriots like Tina Peters in Colorado, who are being politically persecuted with complete impunity, by the way, while convicted pedophiles are being protected. Here at the CARES Project, it is important to us that we the people are able to take our rights back and use our God-given constitutional rights to be able to expose the evil going on in this country and hold politicians accountable. We need especially the strong men to take charge in supporting the CARES Project's action plan financially in doing the work of holding the government accountable to protect our rights. And if you guys know me, you know already that this is my favorite quote, and so I'm going to leave it with you here today, because the most important thing that we need in this country right now is strong men. And I, as a woman, know just as much as anyone else just how valuable and important it is for us to have strong men leading our country to success. And so I'll leave you with this. The greatest want of the world is the want of men. Men who will not be bought or sold. Men who in their innermost souls are true and honest. Men who do not fear to call sin by its right name. Men whose conscience is as true to duty as the needle is to the pole. And men who will stand for the right, though the heavens may fall. So, my friends, you've heard all that I've had to say today and the importance of the same. As you can see, we have people, strong patriots, and women standing up for what's right and being completely destroyed. Politically, financially, we have good women in this country, good mothers whose children are being completely abused and taken advantage of within the system and even within their homes. And nothing is being done about it. Now is the time to take a stand. The CARES Project has an action plan, and based on all the experience that we've had throughout the years, we have the ability to teach people how to get this done. We need to work together in a time such as this, because our time is limited. Elections are coming up, and something needs to change. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Now's the time to take a stand, and that is precisely why I encourage you to stand with the CARES Project for we the people. Thank you.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the CARES Project podcast. We're back for part 3 because it was too late last recording, but we're going to talk about some more of this destruction of the innocence of the people and a lot of how this filthy lifestyle and so forth is affecting people. And don't get me wrong, while I don't like the sin, I don't hate the sinner, right? So it's like I have a daughter. There's some things that I hated that she did. Didn't mean that I hated my daughter, right? That's the same type of thing. I don't have to agree with someone's actions. That doesn't mean that I'm going to treat them terribly, but I can't sanction the actions, and especially the effects of the actions that we're seeing happening today. This is something that we really need to talk about. We want to have a couple of minutes to kind of say your whatever about what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah. Hey y'all. What's good in the proverbial hood? So my friends, um, my dearest friends and most trusted acquaintances listening. Today we're going to be talking about, the destruction of innocence and all the degeneracy going on. We've been seeing quite a bit happening on the timeline with that Lily woman, um, who is fans. And we're gonna a little bit of that today. And honestly, some of y'all were coming for me on the timeline. I can't lie, because I was saying um that pretty much I think the men are responsible for their own actions before God, and women are responsible for their own actions before God. Sin is sin. And we are all responsible for our own sin, regardless. Um, And, a lot of people didn't like that because they thought they should just blame the woman. But it's like, this has nothing to do with blaming men or women. It has to do with the fact that we are responsible for ourselves. Like, we have to. When you compare yourself to the man next to you, you can be perfect. When you compare yourself to God or Christ, sorry, Christ is our example. When you compare yourself to Christ, you humble yourself before your need for repentance through Christ and God. We're gonna look into a little bit of all this today, because really, that I seen this lady gets darker every day, and it's not just her, but her story gets darker every day. We found. I'm not even gonna ruin it, but you're gonna be happy with what you've seen. If you're a Christian, I'm not happy to see it. And at the end of the day, this has nothing to do with removing accountability. Because when you go to the store, not the store, when you go to the mechanic for your car, you have a problem. Mechanic isn't just going to look at your car and be like, you know what, I'm gonna fix the transmission. Whole time you need a brand new engine, and you might as well scrap the car, because everybody knows once you need a new engine, you might as well scrap the car. It really depends, but 9 times out of 10, you've got to scrap it. To diagnose the problem in the car first, right? To understand what you. A lot of people are throwing darts in the dark, saying, oh, this or that, but they don't want to understand where it came from. And the problem, what we're seeing right now today in large part, is that people are looking at problems and diagnosing solutions without the root cause of the problem, and going step by step, play by play, so then it in the future in other areas and aspects of life. And this is how the people who are, disgusted with the same behavior, their kids are getting entrapped with the same stuff. Yeah, we can acknowledge responsibility, but you got to know the root cause of the problem to protect yourself and those from it. So let's get into it.
Yeah, I'm gonna put this here because we're gonna start with this because this is something that's being done on TikTok. Okay, and this is that girl Lily that I mean people were talking about like mad. So here, let's hear what she has to say on TikTok, and keep in mind the audience to this: the kids like 12, 13, and teenagers and so forth, as well as adults.
I spent 14 consecutive hours getting ran through, and now I'm going to be doing 24 because I'm going to be going for the world record early February next year. I'm going to go for 1,000.
Yeah. So we have that girl coming onto the the TikTok announcing that she just got run through and that she's going to go and have 1,000 more. This is not a platform where it's just adults. This is a platform where they have all ages. And this is content that children, teenagers are seeing. What do you think they're going to start thinking of when they see that? Sorry, go ahead, Kaysha. Thoughts?
That's like, uh, quite frankly, you shouldn't be able to advertise this stuff to kids. You shouldn't be able to advertise this, like, that's a grooming behavior children. And I'll get more into it wider as we see the progression of this, so it'll make sense to you. I won't say now, I'll say, but behavior of the women, this in because of the work that they're doing, they naturally are grooming people around them, and they see as they don't care, they don't see a problem with it, and it's harmful to them, and it's harmful to children and family and stuff around. And you guys are gonna see why.
Yes. Now, we're going to bring in another clip. This also is on TikTok of what this same woman, what she does. And this is like on a wider audience. Okay.
Kenneth here has won a competition to bonk me. So this is the before, and I'll show you the after in 30 seconds. And this is the after. I mean, you look totally like the same. Maybe not so much me. I look fucking wrecked.
What you don't see, there's another clip. He came there with his girlfriend. That man came there with his girlfriend. She didn't go in there. She was left outside while this woman takes the man's boyfriend into the room and does filth with him. And this was on TikTok, them talking about this, right? This is because you can't tell me that type of material is not being promoted to the kids, right? Yeah.
No,
Go ahead.
can't. First of all, and this is the gen filth. As far as I'm concerned, we should make adultery illegal again, because this level, this nonsense needs to be stopped. Like the fact that the guy came there with his girlfriend, where I don't even know where to start. I don't even know what possesses, and we're gonna get into it later. What possessed her? I guess we're not in the mind part of this woman, but we see some things that make sense as to why these things are going on. But what possesses people to do that? And what possesses you, man, to have the audacity and the disrespect to bring your girlfriend to go with you to go sleep with another woman, and then she's gonna wait outside? What kind of humiliation rituals are we going through? What kind of demonic rituals are we going through? Because you know what feminists will say, now you're free, you're liberal, you're liberated for humiliation. Once upon a time, if you saw somebody and you violated their innocence, you would be killed, or you had to marry a woman because you were going to destroy you were going to financially devastate the family, and you were going to destroy their nation and society and their business, and you dishonored them and you dishonored God. Now, I'm not saying to go out and kill people. What I am saying, the consequences for their actions is next level insane. We are going backwards. There's no respect. There's no respect in what's happening right now with men and women. This is not liberation. This is humiliation. This is demonic.
Yes. And now, when you're looking at what's going on, you got to start not just looking at the situation. Yes, this girl was exploited. but she's also exploiting people. This is not. This is not. I mean, she's not a victim here. In a lot of cases, yes, she was victimized, but what she's doing is she's doing things to a large amount of people in a very, very, in a manner that was unprecedented before they had the ability to mass broadcast things and have all of these millions of people following these women, single women doing all of this stuff. And so it amplifies the amount of attention that they would have normally gotten before they had these types of technologies. But listen to what this woman does when she's talking about how she wanted to get into this stuff. And you have to begin to start thinking about what she's saying.
To get into the industry.
Honestly, just so sexual. I thought about it for so long because I had a boyfriend and then I was like, oh, like I really want to do it. And then he was like, no, so I broke up with him.
Did you?
Yeah.
How long were you with him?
Like 2 years.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Well, it mustn't have been the one.
So you have a boyfriend of 2 years. And you just say, I'm just going to go and do this. And he's like, no. So you leave him.
That's crazy. That's crazy to me. I had a man, if I had that the other girl said he must not have been the one. Like that means that girl was just with him for like the 2 years. Like she wasn't really serious. This guy's just in this relationship with her and she's just, holding herself over or whatever. She's just with him for whatever reason. And then one day she's like, yeah, I just want to do OnlyFans. And he's like, no, he has some self-respect. Good for him. And then she breaks up with him. Like, and this is so disturbing. This is so sad. You have the security of a man for 2 years. Maybe it'll go good places. Who knows? Actually, matter of fact, in my opinion, you shouldn't waste 2 years with someone without starting to start the process of somebody. But anyway, that's a different subject. And then you just go on and you're just like, I'm going to trade the security from this man for OF. As far as I'm concerned, I could care less what kind of job I do, so long as I have a family and I'm helping people. Like, I don't care. I don't have the preference or whatever else, like other people. I want to do this or whatever. I don't care. People. I'm not going to do OF. That's not my point. My point is my primary objective, my thought, and my heart's desires family. So for me, like, look at this girl nurturing her mind on for the mothering nature out of her is non-existent. Her to have the security of this man, but I'm going to get him off so that I can do OF. There is something seriously wrong with the mind of this woman and emotions. I can't hear you, man.
I said, of course there is. Now go back and let's listen to what she says in this interview with this man in this clip.
Before I had sex, I was never much for. I actually wanted to wait till marriage at one point. I just used to think it was a real special thing. As soon as I actually did it and had, I kind of realised that it wasn't special.
So she says that once she realized when she went and had sex that it wasn't special. You know why it's special? Because it's supposed to be done with somebody that you're doing in marriage. It's supposed to be the consummation of your relationship. It's not for you to just go and do willy-nilly and so forth, but she's being conditioned to do this. This woman, in the way that she's talking, you don't just wake up one morning and just start thinking these things.
Thinking like this. Exactly.
This is something that happened over time, right? And when you see what she's doing and how she's getting there and what the things that you're doing, you're going to see a progression of something. Go ahead.
But I'm wondering, I'm wholehearted because she said once she did it, the way she's talking is almost like she's a little bit from it, if you know what I mean. And it's reminding me of the woman who said she got into porn because she was raped. And I'm wondering if there's a similar circumstance, because when you are, and I'm not saying this is the case definitively because I don't know this woman. I'm just saying, I'm wondering what the trigger point was, because the way that she's talking and thinking, like my dad says, you don't just wake up one day and have this. Something had to you put this into motion, and then something had to trigger it. Like she had to have the grooming for the ideology, and then had to be the trigger point. Because, like I said, talking about the other show, women who have a certain level of trauma, and it's rape, there's all sense of care for their sexuality, their innocence, and their purity. And this is when people swoop in and exploit that vulnerability. Is also, I'm starting to understand why the Bible also says that keeping someone is like rising up against your brother, killing him. It is a demonic spiritual thing. It is a physical, like there's just so much to it.
And there's when I saw this clip after this, I saw this and she had this on TikTok quite a long time ago. And keep this in mind that this is a progression of things. And she says she wants to push the boundaries and push the limits. This was like 18 months ago, this clip that I'm going to show you. And there's a ton of these on her social media that she was doing this. And keep in mind that this is going out to, there's younger kids, there's teenagers that are underage, and this is what they're going to see. And this is absolutely disgusting.
You've been such a good stepbrother today. You deserve this.
Yes. Yes. And there's a lot worse than that on her TikTok. Yes. When I saw that, I was like, this woman is sick. Yes, she was exploited and groomed, but now she has gone out and she is now going out and mass grooming a lot of young men, teenage boys. I can probably, good probability that a lot of those barely 18, barely legal boys that she came in and slept with were some of the ones that she was grooming when they were underage. Right? And then she caught them right as they hit the thing at 18. And she this is grooming behavior. Doing this and then now bringing in all of these men after they've been seeing and the things that they were saying in their comments. And she would count down in a voice that should only be heard by your wife in the bedroom for them to do things. And the comments that people were saying was disgusting. And this is what is being put out on TikTok. People are wanting to have sympathy for this woman. But when they begin to see the things that she was doing to groom a whole lot of boys in a large TikTok account, she's turning those young boys that are going to grow up into men into weapons to destroy other women. And she's doing this because she wants the attention, the money, whatever else that it is. But she's in getting a platform that these women never had before to have millions of people coming in and seeing this. These are weapons of mass destruction to society. Go ahead, Kaysha.
No, woman, if I seen that in my face, jail. I'm not even gonna lie to you, because yeah, back to consequences. That's all I've got. Like, I see that as a woman. It's like that one time that I was at that house. I started freaking out. Like when we were that shit on the Karis Project a while back, Colorado, and I found out the lady I was staying with was a convicted pedophile, and I was ears, and I had my head down, and I was tweaking. I started stuttering. I couldn't even my speech because I was gonna blow a casket, and I thought I was gonna go to jail. I mean, seeing that makes me want to lose my mind
And
because you
people
can't.
and people want to give her mercy because she's a good-looking young woman. She is. But she's still doing something that was extremely disgusting. If that was a man, what would people be saying? They would not tolerate
He'd be in jail.
exactly. But because the women, people have more compassion on the women, they allow them to get away with this filth. And who do you think is going to be most affected by this? The men. And what are they going to do when they have no value for the women because of the way they're being groomed and conditioned? You put that pornography in their hands, you're destroying them, right? Let's go back and just so that people can get an idea. I'm going to play this clip again so that people can see what happens when your brain is on pornography, because I mean people need to really understand and grasp this fact here, because this is not cool, man. Really not.
Recently, a supercomputer managed to do what no computer had ever done: simulate 1 whole second of human brain activity. How long did it take the computer to accomplish the task? 40 minutes. That might seem like a long time if, like most of us, 1 second of brain activity amounts to something like, "I want a sandwich." But your brain transmits more messages than all the phone calls across the world, sifting through a non-stop flow of input from the eyes, ears, and other senses, even if you're just making a sandwich. Consider the brain: 50 billion neurons, a trillion glial cells, 4 miles of blood vessels, all dedicated to making an enjoyable life possible for you. Need food, shelter, and sleep? Your brain is designed to go after whatever it takes to survive. Your brain is also wired for companionship, with neurochemicals released in response to intimacy. Even if you're alone, staring at pornographic images on a screen. In that moment, the brain's powerful machinery kicks into gear, bonding us in different ways to images on the screen. Studies show that over time, many can develop a compulsion to pornography, causing them to need more of it, more often, and more hardcore versions just to feel normal. Just like with mood-altering drugs. The amazing brain, in other words, can be hijacked. Image after image, your expectations of sex, love, and relationships can evolve, with your own sexual preferences changing dramatically as you continue to seek out more shocking content. No surprise, then, that in comparison, people and activities you used to really care about seem less interesting. The good news is that the same processes that shape the brain in one direction can shape it in another. Hundreds of research studies prove that brain pathways can move in healthier directions. That's true for all of us, and there are lots of ways to help that happen. The only question that remains is what pathways you'll choose for yourself. So choose reality. Choose love. You were born with a machine in your head more powerful than the world's fastest computer, your brain. Take care of it. It was made to take care of you.
So you're getting your brain rewired. And when you're watching this pornography, you're conditioning yourself. And you're going to need more of it. And what happens when your brain is not fully developed and it's being wired for this? It's destructive. A lot of the women there are not thinking of these things, and they're like trying to make their ends meet because they've been put in a bad position. But at the end of the day, the effect of it is detrimental. This is an epidemic. Pornography is worse than any drug epidemic. And it's only going to get worse because of the economic conditions and the way our society has been developing and not developing. It's been engineered to do this. It's going to force more women in there because of the economic insecurity. They're creating the circumstances for more of this. and all the people that were involved in doing this COVID and all this other but this business, they were all, I mean, they were all looking for this outcome. This was what they were looking for. This is a system of slavery. This is not normal. And then that shit, yeah. Sorry. Kaysha, you want to say something before we take a break?
Oh man, you said it. You said it.
All right, we'll just take ourselves a little bit of we'll hear from a sponsor here, and then we will come back.
Donald J. Trump is officially the next president of the United States of America. While millions of people are rejoicing in victory, thousands of others are still concerned about their savings. The unfortunate truth is we still have over $35 trillion in debt, plus wars are still raging around the globe. So what can you do to protect your savings? Many Americans are already taking action by reaching out to the top-rated precious metal company, Goldco. Right now, Goldco is offering you a free gold and silver kit to show you how precious metals like gold and silver could help you diversify your savings before it's too late. Visit MikeLikesGold.com or call 855-441-GOLD to get your free gold and silver kit today. Plus, you can receive up to a 10% instant match on bonus silver for qualified accounts. Visit MikeLikesGold.com or call 855-441-GOLD. I'm excited to announce our Christmas extravaganza is finally here. Get this season's flannel sheets for as low as $59.98. They won't last long, so get them while you can. Our famous My Slippers, they haven't been on sale for over a year. Regularly $119.98, now only $59.98. Our 6-piece towel sets are back in stock with extremely limited quantities, only $29.98. With hundreds of MyPillow products, there's something for everyone on your Christmas list. Bathrobes, duvets, quilts, down comforters, and so much more. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save on all MyPillow products. For example, flannel sheets for as low as $59.98, or our 6-piece towel sets, just $29.98. But that's not all. I'm extending our 60-day money-back guarantee until March 1st of 2025. Plus, all orders over $75 or more ship absolutely free.
Yeah, back to that. Yeah, I mean, they also ship to Canada. You can see the number down there. It's in the ticker and the promo code. And so you can go get the MyPillow stuff, or if you want to support, you can see the stuff in the ticker there as well. We're gonna listen to a couple of clips of what she had to say just after she got ran through by these 100 people, and you will see that she is not. I mean, this is like the drug addict that has just come down after the drugs. Like, listen to this.
It's not for the weak, girls, if I'm honest. It was hard.
But
I don't know if I'd recommend it.
why not?
I think if you're a different type of girl, it's very like... It's kind of like being a prostitute in a sense of like, it's just a different feeling. I don't know how to explain it, like...
It's not like just having sex with someone.
Yeah. Just one in, one out, like it feels intense.
Like more intense than you thought it might.
Definitely.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Okay. Okay. Just take
Yeah, 1 minute.
So you see what that there is. That doesn't look like that didn't work out the way that she thought it was. That's not cool. Kaysha, you have that look of Kat, you're muted. You're muted.
That I'm angry, man. I can't lie to you.
That
Um, yeah, that girl, like, what's crazy to me is like I'm not saying she's not responsible for her choice. That's not saying at all. Don't even get it twisted. She's fully responsible. I'm saying is I couldn't understand why she was crying like that because decision and she organized, like she thought about this, she did it, she planned it, she did it. It was premeditated. It's not like something that happened off the chance, off the night. She was drunk and got ran through by he planned 1,000 different, not 1,000, well, this one she planned to sleep with 100 men, had them go through a series of testing. Some of them flew from out of the country, crazy to me, to do this. So I was like, why is she crying? Like, but again, she thought it would be cool. Even people who there's consequences for your actions, experiencing probably the physical and the emotional consequence of what she just did, and she knows it's just probably going to keep getting worse. That's probably in her mind a little bit, like she like men, like she was a piece of meat. Like that's nasty. It's nasty. And no matter which way it's filthy, it's nasty. And on it, her mother. Well, I'll get into that after. Go ahead.
Yeah, we'll discuss that in another. This is gonna take a couple to get through. Anyway, this is another clip that she had just after she came out of there, and got a little bit more to say.
I think sometimes like feeling so like robotic, like by the I think like the 30th, you know, like when we're getting on a bit, I've got like a routine of like how we're gonna do this, and like it just sometimes you'd like disassociate and be like, you know, like it's not like normal things at all. In my head right now, I can think of like 5, 6 guys, 10 guys that I remember, and that's it. But it's just, I don't know, it's just weird, isn't it? Like if I didn't have the videos, I wouldn't have known I've done 100, you know. But yeah, I think that was kind of the hard part, is like conversing with them, and like when they'd kind of be like, oh, like we've only had 2 minutes or 3 minutes and you said 5 on the message.
Did someone say that to you?
Yeah. And obviously it just makes me feel so bad.
Do you think you should feel bad about that?
I guess when you've promised something to people who support you, it's kind of hard to let them down.
But it's up to you, right? Like when you know.
Yeah.
Have you even processed, do you think, what's happened?
Not yet. God, I won't forget this day, Jesus.
When I decided to start making this documentary, I wasn't too sure of what to expect. I certainly didn't expect to see Lily so upset at the end of it all.
That's like it's like somebody who's coming down from drugs after they realize that they just went ahead and just blew like their life savings or something, right? Like, I mean, of course you're going to have that. That tells you right there that that's not, if it was a good thing to do, that wouldn't be happening.
And promising 5 minutes per person, there's 100 men, 500 minutes of men going in and out of this woman in it that they want. That has to be pain. You're not, like, I don't know how her body and mind must be so overstimulated. The fact that she said she can only remember 5 or 10, she didn't have footage, she wouldn't know she had done 100. That's terrible. Her brain can't. Brain is, and she said she was disassociating. Her brain is not even processing what happened. And as her brain starts to process it, she's going to get worse and worse. It's going to be too much. I can't hear what you're saying, man.
She's blocking it out. That's what's happening. It's like she set herself up to get like violated, and she's traumatized. She's traumatized, and her brain is blocking it out, and this is what's going on.
Her brain is processed that way.
But
that's what I'm saying. Her crying is almost as if her brain is processing as a non-consensual thing, even though she said it herself.
Yes, but then after this is where she said she's going to go after this, and that's where she had the video of saying now she's going to go for 1,000, because after she's come down off of that, now she has to go back up and do this thing again. This is addict behavior, 100%. Let's listen to a woman here. She's going to talk a little bit about the her trauma in that same industry. She's now come out of it. So let's hear what she has to say.
I was in the porn industry for a total of 7 years. I had left at one point and then got involved with a pimp, and then he got me back into the industry for another 3.5 years. So it was a total of 7. I mean, a pimp basically preys on the vulnerable. And at that time I was vulnerable. I was dating a guy who was stabbed to death in front of me. I was deathly afraid, and he came in and, you know, swooped me off of my feet and, you know, helped me to get off the drugs that I was on at that time, and then basically was like, all right, it's time, you know, you're gonna be a bigger star than ever before. And his job was to protect me, and I basically gave him all of my money. They don't just come in like, hey, I'm gonna put you in the porn industry or in prostitution and take all your money. They're coming in like for a relationship with you, right? And so they make you feel like you're somehow, like, you feel accepted, you feel validated being with them. After I saw the guy that I was dating get stabbed to death in front of me, I was really afraid because I had started using crystal meth. They didn't find the murderers, and so they were still out there. And on crystal meth, I started hearing voices. The voices were basically saying, if you don't take your life, we're gonna come after all your family members. And here I am, like, hallucinating on this drug, thinking that there were murderers somehow communicating with me through the walls of a house, like just the things that I was believing, you know? And so I just was being tormented for probably 2 months when I just said, I can't take this anymore. Like, I'll just, please, like, I started talking to the voices, like, don't touch my family, like, I will take my life. It was about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I went into the bathroom. I was at my dad's house, and I started slitting my wrist while on crystal meth with the lights off, so I couldn't see what was going on. And then I just heard another voice that said, turn the lights on and put the scissors down. And that voice spoke again, turn the lights on and put the scissors down. And that voice just brought me like peace and strength in that moment, that I did exactly what it said. I turned the lights on, I put the scissors down, and when I turned the lights on, I was dripping blood. And I know that had I not heard that other voice, I would have committed suicide that night. And how sad that my dad or my brother or sister would have found me on the floor bleeding to death. It was really heartbreaking. I believe it was in 2019. Every single month for about 5 or 6 months, there was a woman that died of suicide. It was back-to-back suicides, and I'm fortunate to be alive today because there are many women in that business and men who battle with suicidal thoughts on a daily basis, and many of them do go through with it. If not suicide, many performers die of drug overdoses. I'm definitely not an isolated incident.
Yeah, and people in that industry don't like to have this kind of stuff talked about, but these kinds of things happen. Like when you're getting into these types of work in this type of industries, any type of sex work, your life expectancy plummets substantially, right? Drug use is rampant. People always sit down and say, well, it's not the same way, but they're still using drugs. People are still trying to do things to take away from what they're doing. You can't do those things without it taking a toll on you. Human beings were not designed that way, right? And you can see from when that girl came out there, she couldn't even remember a lot of that stuff. But what ends up happening after she goes out and does it? She'll go on her social media platforms, she'll start getting those dopamine hits because she needs it, right? And this is a cycle that people put themselves in. And when you're an addict, you're going to need to do more and more edgier things to take away the pain, right? And you put yourself into the cycle. You're watching this type of addict behavior. And the problem is now that she's going in there, she's grooming mass amounts of people and influencing. This is unprecedented. This is no different than when they wanted to confound the Israelites, when they were going to go into the promised land, they sent naked women to the camp, right? And this was like one of their practices. This is no different. Something to say, Kaysha?
Yeah, I mean, you have exploitation to get a woman into this. A woman wakes up one day and just decides, I'm going to be a prostitute. For that comes from, a household, and I don't care what they're going through. A woman who comes from a good family is not going to willingly wake up one day and prostitute herself. There's a series that you taught in life and go through to get to that point, and it almost always involves coming from a bad direction. Because personally, after all the evil I've been through, when I see these women, it's like a reminder of what people wanted to do to me when I was trafficked. Even when even in those situations, I had to be forced. I had to be forced into the circumstances where I could not choose, because I was raised in such a way where I'd never willingly just go and sell myself. It has to be at home ideology in those children or exploitation.
Yeah, and yes, and there is. And we want to hear a little bit from these people here. This is a little bit of a longer clip. I wanted to get through at least some of it. So, from other people talking about their experiences in this situation.
My first shoot was down in Santa Monica, and from right away, I called my manager to tell them I was uncomfortable. And instead of the supportive producer and the supportive manager that I had experienced when I was signing my contract, I got told that I was being difficult, and that if I was going to continue to make money in this industry, that I was going to have to learn how to behave. I had zero say-so. Oftentimes I didn't even know that I was going to a shoot. One night that I was picked up, and I refused. I refused to go, and his reaction to that was to take my phone, to take my shoes, and drop me off in this area of Southern California that was just agricultural. And so there I was in the middle of the night with workout shorts and a sports bra, no shoes, no phone, no money, no purse, just really left by myself.
The first time I did a film, it was pretty scary. I thought that I was just gonna be handed a camera and go have sex with this girl, and I walk into this giant studio and there's camera A, camera B, camera C, and there's someone shooting BTS, and there's a sound guy, and there's all this stuff going on, and it's just all these lights are around this little bed, and there's this girl sitting on it, and they're like, hey, we'll need you in 15 minutes. Here's a Viagra if you need it. I went to the bathroom. They told me to take half the Viagra. I took the whole thing. And I started to feel really red and flushed. And then I remember walking out onto the set, and I don't really remember what happened after that. I just remember saying cut, and it was over. Probably 4 years into my time in the business, I was just I hate this. I hate this so much. And every day it just got worse and worse. And I was ashamed of who I was. I left porn because I was suicidal.
There was a lot of drugs, and I found myself addicted to cocaine, alcohol. See, for me, I had to go to work to do the porn so that I could buy the drugs to bury the pain of doing the porn. So I'd go to work and do the porn so that I could buy the drugs to bury the pain. And around and around it went.
Towards the end of my time in porn was one of my most viewed scenes. I actually came in as more of a stand-in because they had an original guy doing my part for that scene, but that scene was so rough that it incited an epileptic seizure within him that he had to be rushed to the hospital. So I came in to take his spot, and at first I didn't know what I was getting into, but I signed the consent forms, I signed all the stuff saying it was okay because I needed to get paid. And then on the porn set, I was bound, gagged, and raped. I was in a rape scene. And after that scene, I went home and I tried to kill myself. Everyone who watches that scene, they don't know the backstory behind it. They don't know that I did that afterwards. They don't know what was really happening to me on the inside. And they don't even know what, brought me there in the first place. And so that's why, people watch porn and they just assume, that we're there in front of the camera because we want to be there, or we're having fun or whatever. And maybe it's also because we're telling them that, but they don't know the truth of what's really going on, why we're there, and what's going on inside of us.
Yeah, that's really it. We can't sit down, and you heard from these people that they have no idea what's going on. You don't know whether it's consensual and all of these things. And then when you see that girl coming out and then she's crying and then she go back into these things, you have to begin to understand that there's something that's going on. And all these people that are telling you these things, that this is great and everything else like that, they're lying. We're not designed to do this. We're not designed to do this. And a lot of people that you look at, the mental health issues and all the other issues, and the amount of people that their lifespans are substantially shortened. This is what's going on. Now we're running up on time, but we'll be picking this up again later. So for people, you'll see this another day, but I'm going to say a prayer here and I'll give my daughter closing thoughts. But this is something that you're sitting down and seeing the destruction it's doing to people. You're seeing how this woman that people are feeling sympathetic for, and there's some exploitation, but she's doing a lot of grooming towards people. And when I saw what I saw on TikTok, that was done long before she started to do this stuff, this demonstrates intent, and it's grooming children. And it's grooming in a very bad manner and bringing up a generation of young men that are destructive to society. And this kind of stuff can't continue. That's pedophilia, because you're sexualizing children. And this girl that is going out and making all of these millions of dollars, and a lot of these girls that they have all these things on TikTok and all these places, and they're doing very suggestive things on TikTok. They are grooming children. That's pedophilia. That needs to stop. And none of these guys should be platformed for doing this. This is worse than what they're doing in the schools, because now they're getting them to start performing and acting out. This needs to stop yesterday. I'm going to close it.
We're gonna continue on this platform. Thanks, peace, more.
Yeah, and I'm going to close here with a prayer. Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for this day. We thank you for your love, grace, and mercy. I ask of you this day in the name of Jesus to open our hearts and minds to your will and draw us nearer to you. And Father, give us the strength and raise up the men to stand up and do what is right. And Lord, that they would lead the women, the families there to rebuild their churches, their community, and their nation, that they would come back to God and that we would repent of our wickedness. My prayer. And to protect the children. In Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. For the prayers always. Guys, gosh. If you're watching on Frank's Beach, you'll see the rest tomorrow. If you're watching here, just stay tuned. We'll see you on the other end. Catch you guys in the next one. Ciao.